Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode on the challenges and triumph of online teaching during COVID-19 at the Female Educators Roundtable with your host, Debby Enoe from Teacher Success Coach, and another one of my educators from around the world. It's interesting because we could teach anything online because it's either, you teach in the physical classroom or you teach it online. So my educator, she actually teaches craft skills, i.e. sewing. I see sewing as a craft skill, right? Okay, and it's, one of the things we are talking about is how do you really teach sewing successfully on the online platform? When for me, when I used to do sewing with people or workshop sewing or, arts or anything like that, for me, it is easier for them to actually be there, for me to be right beside them when teaching them. So for me, that's a little bit challenging. So it's interesting to hear how she actually teaches students online, sewing. Anyway, welcome. Please introduce yourself, say the country you come from, and then tell us what it's all about in terms of teaching online craft.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate being here. So my name is Jolise, and I am currently in Canada. So I am currently based in Canada. Originally, I am from Carriacou. So who don't know where is Carriacou? Who don't know where is Carriacou? Is a little island in Grenada.
Yes, that's my country.
My country too. I'm so excited.
Okay, thank you for that. And as Julie said, that she's originally from the Caribbean, from Grenada sister island, which is Carriacou, a very unspoiled small island.
There you go.
The sister of Carriacou, because you have three islands, which is Carriacou, Grenada, and Petit Martinique. Yes. And most people know about Grenada. Grenada is the mainland, whereas Carriacou and Petit Martinique are smaller islands, they're little dots.
Right.
And it's interesting because, just found out that Jolise is from that country as well, the little island of Grenada, which is the same area I come from, my original country. It is an unspoiled little island. There are no McDonald's, there are no Kentucky. There, in the evening time, it's like a ghost town. Because it is lovely. This is the country where I want to do my first, educators retreats. And you will be close to nature. You'll be seeing the lizards. You'll be seeing all the lovely natural animals. That's where they all are. And about the beach, whoa, fantastic. This is one little island. It's 13 square feet.
Oh, you have a lot of knowledge about it. Good.
Well, okay, that's my country, And around the little island, it is shaped like a lion, I was told. And from every part, every area around this island, there is a beach. So it's 10 minutes from, 10 minutes from the land. Everywhere you go, there's a beach. There's a beach. So just imagine that, right? And beautiful sun. Anyway, I'm not getting paid for this, right? With the marketing. Yeah, so that's that's the island I'll be doing my first retreat for educators sometime next year after COVID have sorted itself out. It would be a retreat to remember because it's on a small island. It is unspoiled. Everywhere you have to, there are a few buses, but most places you walk.
I'm telling you, yeah.
And there's no fast food. There's no fast food restaurant. I think they have 3 banks on the island. 3 banks, right? Yeah. And there are one post office.
It is well, we survive it. Well, it's good.
Right, so that's the country Jolise come from, and that's the country I come from. A wonderful country. Anyway, that's enough about the country. Okay. I know, is it? Okay, so the interesting thing about it is, you told me that you saw online, right? So what is it like? How do you engage your student online? Tell us about it.
Absolutely, I'll be more than happy to. So, since the COVID started, because I never done online teaching or anything like that before. Most of my teaching is done in class in studio. So I started the online class by actually put out a question out there. Who would like to learn to sew? Who has their sewing machine in a box? I want to take it out. And I got quite a few response. So then I invite the response onto a Zoom call, and I let them know I have never used Zoom before. We had done an orientation. So I tell everyone this is an orientation. I want to hear your feedback and help me out if you know more about Zoom or those kind of things. So it was a really fun experience because I meet a lot of new people. I meet new people in the sense that they are students who want to learn to sew. It was a really good experience the very first time, and I was still, man over in Zoom. I didn't know a lot of things, and the experience was wonderful. The experience was wonderful, my very first time. And people would help me. They would say, oh, Julius, you know what? You're on mute, and I'm talking away, and nobody would hear. So I said, that's the power. I'm still learning, and the good thing is that everyone was I guess when Zoom came out, a lot of people actually was learning. So they too was learning, and whatever they knew about it, that was helping me to help them. We all help each other, and it was a wonderful experience. The very first time I actually log onto Zoom and say, yeah, I wanna start teaching.
Okay. So how did you actually started teaching them in terms of, okay, let's thread the sewing machine and, let's cut the fabric, how did you go through the process?
Absolutely. So what I did when I started advertising the sewing class, it was a free class I offered on Zoom at first because I wanted to get people to have that power that they could actually do anything online, right?
Brilliant.
So in the first class, what I did after the orientation, we schedule, let's say we're gonna have it Monday or something like that. So we schedule a time. So what I did a pre-video, right? So I tell my students, and then the class was like, you could have two options. You could either have a sewing machine and you know how to thread the sewing machine. So that was one of the options. The next option was you don't have a sewing machine, but you have needle and thread. So I make it so simplified that whether you have a sewing machine or you don't have a sewing machine, you don't have to feel intimidated to come and learn to sew. So I would send the videos to my students and get them prepare the fabric, tell them they need thread, they need scissors, they need to thread 6 needles or 6 needles if they're using needle and thread, and everything they would have at hand. So that's how I actually started my class, by sending them pre-video and get them pre-ready for the class. So that's it for one set, because I have 2 sets of age group I teach.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's for the older age group. And if I was to tell you about the kid or a younger age group, that's when I would have to tell them step by step what to do. But in that case, they have to have a machine that I have in my studio. So
okay.
Along, yeah.
Okay. So what was it in terms of getting them to be engaged? Because just think, although they might say yes, they want to do sewing, as you know for yourself, sometimes they say yes, they want to do sewing because they see the end product of what is sewn. The process of sewing could be quite tedious because you do have some people who, they see the end product and say yes, they want to sew, but the process, they don't get engaged. Because I know for myself, I'm also, have craft in my background. I do a lot of, another aspect of the things I do is carnival workshops. And I do, sewing as well as designing, etc. So I know that some of them, when they see the end product, they're excited. But when you're actually taking them through the process, the engagement is a problem because they lose engagement because they say, oh, it's taking too long. Or, so what was it like in terms of engagement?
Awesome, great question. So what I did for my very first project, I'll just go back to the beginning again. I did a very easy step-by-step project, which I know that I believe at least that the student could follow through easy. Because of course you have students from all over the world pretty much, right? And I bring a skirt project, a very simple skirt with waistband, right? And in order to engage them to make sure they follow step by step, what I would do, I would have samples, like I would have samples of, let's say we have the skirt, and I said, okay, cut the skirt in two, right? And we have to touch right sides to right side. First, I would make sure I lay down the ground rules to let them know at least, okay, we're gonna start now. Safety is first. You have scissors, you have needles, you have everything. Make sure you're safe. Make sure that you try to eliminate distraction, and let's get focused. Thankfully, my class wasn't that big, so it wasn't that out of the place. I think the first set of students was either 5 to 7 students. I can't remember the exact number. But the thing is, to get them engaged is to have them, let them know in advance that, okay, we are starting and you have to be focused. Now, that's one. The next step is that I would have, like I said, a little sample, and I will show them what to do. And then individually now I would go, okay, Jane, where are you? Are you okay? Do you understand? Yes. Jack, are you okay? Do you understand? Yes. Jerry, are you okay? Do you understand? No, I may not understand it. So what do you not understand? So I could explain. While Jane and Jack already understand and know that part, then I'll focus on this, or maybe Tom, for instance. I'm just giving names here, and let them know, okay, what part you don't understand? They will say, okay, I don't understand which is right side or wrong side. Then I'll explain it to them. So for me, it was very easy, because not easy in the sense of easy, but easy in the sense that I had adults for the most part. So it was easy to, for them to take, for them to follow through the step-by-step process.
So in terms of how long would it be before they actually get an end product?
Sure, absolutely. So as I mentioned earlier, it was an easier project. It was a very easy project, very stressful. But it's easy for me. Not everyone is easy for, but it was an easy project after assessing, because I have been doing sewing for a while. So I put the question out there, and then I said, you know, I think that this is a very, very simple, basic skirt. To get the end project finished, it took about 2 hours, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, about 2 hours, because like I said, you know, the step was easy, and I like things simplified. I don't like complicated. I could be teaching a skirt, and maybe someone will say, oh, I never know it was so simple. This person, I'm not comparing myself, but with me, I like things the simplest, easiest way, and that's how I like to teach. So I try my best to bring that to my students. So within 2 hours, 2.5 hours, they was able to finish that skirt, and everybody, you know, yeah, so.
Okay. The fact that it was 2.5 hours, it meant that, you know, in terms of engagement, that's fine, because they know they're going to be seeing an end product, you know, within 2 hours. So did you tell them that, okay, you know, in 2 hours, you'll have a finished product?
What I tell them is that the class would take about 2 or 2.5 hours, right? So whoever is not finished, like let's say one person wasn't finished, the step that I left them with, it was so simple that they could have do it on their own.
Okay.
So maybe it was the last, I think there was one girl I had online. She was just a little bit slow because her machine was giving trouble. So she had to change the needle and thread. So that takes a little bit longer. And then the last step she had to do once I finished was, I think was just a hem. And I just show her, okay, this is what you do, iron it, and then just sew it down. And, you know, it was easy for them to finish, even though the class was over.
Okay. Thank you. Do you find that when you actually say to students that, okay, at the end of the lesson, this is the physical product you'll have finished, do you find that that made them more engaged in actually doing the work?
100%.
Right. Yeah.
100%. See, I'm making that me. Yes. Okay. Let's work. So yes, the question is yes. The answer is yes. Yeah.
Okay. So did you see, right? you know, some students actually came to you initially that say, oh, well, I come to the sewing classes, but I don't feel that I'm able to sew, right? Did you have that? And in the end of the session, they were really surprised with themselves that they've actually completed a skirt.
Yes. Yes. And the excitement of that is so awesome. Yes,
Right.
yes, and more yes, absolutely.
Right,
All of
right.
that.
So when a student came, you know, come to you and say, okay, well, I come to the class, but I wasn't able to make the skirt. I don't know if he's going to be able, you know, if I could make that, make that, you know. So what did you do in terms of coaxing them to, you know, to increase their confidence? Yes, you could do, you know, you could actually have this skirt made by you at the end of the session.
So that's a great question. I never really had that too much per se online.
Okay.
I could give a physical class where someone come and say, you know, I'm a slow learner. I never touched a sewing machine before. I never done anything before. You think I could make that? I will let them know, listen, you are in good hands. And of course, uh, what I do, not to compliment myself, but what I've noticed over time from getting feedback from students, they would say, you know what, I went to this class or that class, and the teacher would focus on the advanced learning.
Okay.
And then the one that is behind they would ignore. And I experienced that, especially when I was in nursing school, where the teacher would focus on the one that is in biology class, would be getting the high point. And me, I don't even know nothing. I have to figure it out on my own. So I look at those things there and actually take knowledge of it. So when a student comes to me and they said, you know what, I don't have the confidence, I don't think I could do that, I give them that, yes, definitely you could do it. All what we have to do is try. And one tips I always give my students is that just take your time, relax, take your time. It may take longer. You may see A do it and you see A finish everything done and you wonder, take your time. Eventually you would get to that step. So I like to give my students encouragement because I know anyone could do it. So encouragement is what I actually give them and let them know that they would have the, not, oh, I'm knowledgeable in that area. No, zero. People don't care about that. What they care about that, can I go through that steps? And my encouragement is take your time, you will definitely get there.
Thank you. Yeah, but the another thing is the student, let's say you had about seven of them online. Did they actually form a community? Did they connect with each other? Or they just came in online, do their sewing, and that was it? What was it like?
That's a great question. So in that case, yes, they come online, do their sewing, but I do have a Facebook community where I put people in that group. We have that Facebook community, and I would encourage my students when they sew a skirt or when they sew, you know, whatever project we make, to share it. So we could also share it in the group. Others could comment on that project in the group. So I would say, yes, we do have a after class sort of Facebook community. Maybe not online, because online is just strict. We just dive into the work, right? Because everyone want to get their project going. But after the class, we do have a Facebook community where we connect and share.
Okay, so they connect and share after the class, but not necessarily, you know, connecting with the class to share ideas or say, well, this is what I've done and, you know, this is how I'm going through it. Everybody just come in and focus and just get the skirt or get the dress done because they're busy. They just want to get the product done. Okay. So how do you assess the student? How do you, you know, what is your way of assessing them in terms of, you know, what they've done?
Sure. One thing I always do is that I like to acknowledge people. So I would say, I would ask Jane, Jerry, Jack, whatever the case may be, how are you doing? Is it okay? Is the step simple? Do you want me to explain it again? And they will say, no, I'm fine. So I always like to, when I have a couple of people on the Zoom, I would always look through and point out to them to make sure, how are you doing? Are you okay? Yes, I'm okay. I think that's one of the way I assess them, because some of my students that come online, they already know how to sew.
Okay.
Yeah. So they may just need that little extra boost or confidence, because we all need confidence sometimes. So some of my students, I realize they know how to use the machine, but they just need that confidence in making something that probably they could wear, or they could give it to their child, or, you know, or to their loved one itself. So the ones that I see that is efficient on the machine, I would still ask, how are you doing? Is everything okay? But I would also draw my attention more to the one that is a little bit that need my attention more. So I assess them by always asking a question because again, they're in their location, I'm here. But once I assess them and I say, okay, are you pinning now? Is that okay? Is that okay? Then they will say, yes. Are you ironing now? Would that be good? I mean, like, are you having any difficulty? And then I will say no. So that's how I assess them. I ask them and I'll say, okay, now show me your product. Show me where you are. Oh, I'm fine. Show me how it is. And I'll say, okay, yes, that looks good. Then I go to the next one. Your hem, did you iron? Yes. Show me, let me see. So,
Okay.
yeah, so.
Okay, okay. So in terms of, so what it is like for the students after they've actually, sewn a skirt, right?
Or face mask. Sometimes we do face mask. So yeah, go ahead.
Or you do face, or you've been doing face masks as well?
Yes, sometimes I have a class with face mask sometime, yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. So what it is like when they actually come in with this raw material and they're leaving with the skirt? Is it a skirt that you put zip in it? So they're putting a zip in the skirt, right?
So no, for the online, yes, there's some classes, but for one of the bigger class I have, no, was a simple skirt that you put an elastic waistband.
Okay, okay, okay.
Simpler.
Okay.
The one to put zipper in is a other class, it's like a paid class, so it's a different community there.
Okay. So what is like when they're coming with the fabric and they're leaving with the skirt? What is that like?
It's amazing. I'm excited for them. I love excitement on people's face when they create this. I'm telling you, girl, it's amazing. When, I have this piece of fabric, I put it together and it creates this, the excitement, the joy on my student face, even more overjoyed than them, as I tell you. So yeah. It's a great feeling to see that.
Yeah, it's a sense of achievement, isn't it? Especially for the students who came in and thinking, oh, this is the skirt you want me to make? Hell no, I can't make that. And then you say, yes, you can. And throughout the 2.5-hour process, you could actually see the, as educators, we could see the joy on their face as they're going through the process.
Absolutely.
And then the end product of, oh my goodness, this is the skirt which you would be wearing, which you've made.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I share in that because as an educator myself, we know that when our students have achieved something, especially when they're struggling.
Yeah, definitely.
Or they're doubting their capability, and then you're trying to, boost them and say, of course you could do it. And then when they realize, oh my goodness, I've done it. The aha moment for us as educators and for them, it's amazing. Those are some of the beauty of being educators, seeing the joy from your students.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you got anything else you want to share with us before I ask you one? I've got two more.
Yeah, I was actually gonna talk about my little I had a younger age student online too, and
okay.
I'm just gonna talk briefly about her. So for her now, she had no knowledge of the sewing machine.
How old is this young person?
9 years old.
9 years old. Whoa, you get them young. Okay.
Yes, so 9 years, because I started really, really young, right? So I love teaching. I love teaching children. So for her now, it was of course a little bit different atmosphere, right? Because she don't know about the machine. So it was very interesting. Oh my, it was such a wonderful moment. Of course, I have to work with her mom and all that, but it was very interesting to see when she tread the bobbin, how excited she was. When she tread the machine and when she had to pin the fabric, she had no clue how to do it, but eventually with encouragement, she done it and she able to show me. Then she did face mask, she did bag. It's a joy. I mean, it's good to see grown women excited, but it's such a beauty to see someone that have no clue of sewing. Yeah. And I sit in my studio, she sits at her home, and we're able to create something. It's such a beautiful thing.
Yeah. 9 years old. Okay. So why did she want to start sewing as a 9-year-old? Why did she want to sew? What's her reason for wanting to sew? 9 years old. Why?
I'm telling you. So I think it run in the blood because Yeah, the mom said I think her grandma was, or her grandmother, the mom's grandmother, I believe, was a as a big time fashion designer or something. Yeah, some.
Okay, okay.
So it kind of run down the veins, the blood. So I guess.
Okay, okay. Okay, okay. So what did the 9-year-old sew? She did face mask. What else did she sew?
So in the beginning, we have to thread the machine, as I mentioned. Then we have to make sure we do straight stitches because in order to sew,
Okay.
you gotta know how to balance yourself on the machine and how to be safe. Because that's one of the things I'm very, very key on, safety. So
Right.
regardless of what is what no, regardless of what we sew in, safety is always the utmost important. So I will show
Right.
her how to make sure her hand is safe on the machine and how to start with a back stitch. I don't know if you sew
Okay. Yeah,
that
yeah,
part.
yeah, 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 yeah.
And then we sew a straight line. So that's the first couple stitching. We make sure she could get it straight. Then
Yeah.
she follow the half an inch. She'll follow the 1 inch. And the project, some of the projects she make, the first project she make was a little tote bag.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I know. Then she make face mask. She make a zipper pouch. So I teach her how to do zipper. No clue about zipper. We did zipper online. So it's fun. It's I know.
Wow. Okay. So did she make, was she making this, the face mask to sell or she was making it personally?
No, the I sent her the pattern. She had no clue about face mask. I just say this is
Okay.
COVID time. Let's this is one of our projects. Like
Okay. Okay.
yeah. So that was just another project. So I do project to test my student out, and she's very good in following direction. So I
Right.
project to follow direction. Okay, stop, turn the light off, lift up the presser foot. Let's do, and she's following direction like a pro. Beautiful.
Okay. 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 So is she still coming to you or are you finished with her? What's the situation on that?
No, it's an ongoing class. It's an
Oh,
ongoing.
it's an ongoing class. Okay. So what else? She made face masks. What else did she make?
Well, she recently started, so yeah, so that's pretty much what we make so far. Oh, here, here crunchy, I think, yeah. We haven't get into skirt and all that because I'm still assessing until
Okay. Yes. 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 Yes.
we start into the bigger project. So step by step by step.
Right, 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 right. Because the fact that, so the fact is, as an educator, you teach more practical subject. So it's a matter of, it is easier for students because when they're doing a practical subject, they're seeing the end product. So it's like running to the goal. So for them is, oh yes, well, at the end of it, I'm going to make the skirt. So therefore it's like getting them to get to that skill. But some of them who don't have confidence is a matter of, keep on encouraging them, isn't it?
Exactly.
It's
So there's also theory too when it comes to that side because there's a lot of rules and symbols in sewing that you would have to learn as you go along. So
okay.
there's also theory in sewing as well, big time. But it is a lot of practical, of course, and that's where I start, of course, online. And as we get deeper and deeper and deeper in sewing, then you'll understand. Yeah. So you
I'm
understand.
just trying to think about the theories. When you're so used to sewing, right? Because I'm not teaching it to anybody, I don't go through the process. I
So I
just
grain line, cotton fold,
oh
salvage.
yes, yeah, yeah, yeah,
What I'm
yeah.
saying, so you have to know those stuff. You have to know where it is on the fabric. You have to know how to
Yeah,
put the pattern down. If you're making a pattern, how to draw the. So there's a lot of things you don't know.
yeah, that is very true. Just, in terms of measurement, and yeah, that's true. So you need to have a bit of maths in all of that. In terms of measurement, do the inches. Like I said to my daughter, say yes, she wants to learn to sew. I say, okay, but remember you need to, to do the measurement from the seam to the inside. And she's looking at me. I say, yeah, I say, you better get it sorted. So it's interesting though, because people tend to when they see an end product, I think some people think, oh my goodness, this is simple. But when they actually start getting going, they realize it is not as simple as you think it is.
Absolutely. And I could just give you one thing, one tip before you ask any other question is that a lot of people would come to my class and they would say, that's in my institute, and they say, oh, I didn't know it was all that. And some
Yeah,
people would drop out and just a simple
yeah,
skirt, not the one with waistband. This one you have zipper and all that. So a little bit
yeah.
more. And people would leave the garment and go and never come back. And I would message them and say, come, let's say, oh, I just realized it's not for me. I didn't realize it was all that. So yeah. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that
Yeah, especially when you have to, do the measurement and do the pattern. You know, pattern is quite a, pattern is quite a task. I'd rather just sew without the pattern because pattern is like two jobs, right?
No,
That's making two garments.
no, you know the funny thing, its pattern looks it looks intimidating, but let's say you had to do mass production, like you have to make a dress.
Yes.
Pattern is your heaven, is your goal. Like
Yes.
down and you cut 10, 100 dress at the same time. So
Yes, it is very true because, you know, in terms of the aspect which I do in terms of sewing, I'm a carnival designer. So when I sew costumes for my band members and I have a pattern, it is easier because, you know, you're having the same, you know, one group having the same style, etc. It's much easier. I just say, okay, here you are, and just cut, you know, 5, whatever. Yes, it is in that sense. But when I'm just doing one garment, hello, one garment, a pattern, hell no. Take too long.
just cut and cut, sew, and dress and go.
Exactly. Cut, sew, and you know, you cut and you sew and you're done. I used to love the fact that, you know, I used to sew when I'm ready to go somewhere. It's like, okay, I'm going to a wedding, so I need to.
I am so. How did you learn to sew? I have to ask you a question. Sorry. How did you learn to sew?
Back home. Don't forget, I came from a family who sew. You know, and I'm looking at it and thinking, okay, I need to sew something for this wedding, and I have nothing. I'm thinking, okay, Debbie's always last minute. I'm known in the family as lastminute.com, right? I realized there's nothing, you know, the day of the wedding, you know, the evening of the, you know, the wedding starts at 4 o'clock. At 3 o'clock, I'm still.
You're still constructing the garment.
Yeah, 3 o'clock, I'm still sewing on the edges. I'm cutting the pieces and all of that. Lastminute.com is one of my, you know, it's interesting. I remember, you know, going to Trinidad, one of my cousin,
yeah,
you know, she was getting married. And the fact is, I left England with the intention of sewing my clothes, you know, before I got it. I saw everybody else's, and I always leave myself for last because I always say, with yourself, you could do it quickly, right?
You hit the nail right on the head, I'm telling you.
We got to Trinidad, right? The wedding was the morning. They had to go to the church and they said, Debbie, I come. And I say, yes, yes, yes. And I'm trying to sew this thing in the night. Everybody said, Debbie, have you finished? No, I haven't. I'm sewing this dress and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I'm in real trouble because I need to do so I mean, my goodness. Thank God for safety pins, eh? When I realized that the machine, the thread keep on cutting, I'm not able to finish it. And I'm thinking, you know what? You know, there's some places you could use the safety pin to hold it up.
Yes, why not? No one will see it.
Exactly. Done, ready. They're saying to me, you finished? Yes, I'm finished. I was dressed up as anything else. Don't pull me too much because the pins hold me together. You know, so those are some of the things in terms of the last minute.
Right. I'm like that sometimes. Yeah.
The last minute, and you know, the last minute, everything goes wrong. And I keep on saying to people, if it's a last minute with myself, I'm okay because I know how I could, you know, put it together.
Right, yes.
Right, but when it's a last minute for someone else, it becomes even more challenging because, you know, that's the reason why I would sew everybody else's and leave mine for last, because I know that if the machine isn't working, and in Trinidad, the power cut is so often, and that night we had power cut. So I was thinking, okay, what am I going to do? I've got no alternative to wear, so I'll have to do some, you know, some hand stitching and some pins. But it's okay, it's going on me, nobody knows. So those are some of the challenges. You know, as I always say to my students as well when I'm teaching you different subjects, I said, if I'm doing a research and it's last minute for me, that is fine. I could stay up all night to do that because for me. But when you're actually doing something for someone else, it is so important that you actually get it done in enough time. So that's one of the beauty of in terms of, you know, doing things like that.
No, of course. I totally agree with you. I could relate, trust me.
Yes. The lastminute.com, and I keep on saying lastminute.com. It is sad because I still do this when it comes to me and sewing. I still do the lastminute.com. Even when I'm putting a carnival band on the road of Notting Hill, you know, I would sew everybody's costume and mine last because I know the morning of Notting Hill, going on the road, I could actually, put some pins together or hand sew it because I know what I could do for me. Right?
Of course. Oh.
So those are some of the those are some of the things in terms of some practical subjects. It is much that sometimes it's easier, especially if you're doing it yourself.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. But I just listening to you with the online, doing a practical subject online. I just think it's quite challenging. I'm not too sure, with every subject how, for me, verbal subjects are easier for me to do than a practical subject online because I have not tried sewing online. So for me, that just seems a challenge, a greater challenge than I've had, doing other teaching online. And you make it sound so very easy.
I think it's just, like I mentioned, I like things easy. I don't like things.
Yeah.
So I would always try a way to work around the situation to make sure. But with that in note, I did teach three students signed up, but two students actually came on board. Two students online. They had some knowledge of the sewing machine, and we was able to make a skirt from scratch.
Right.
A gather skirt with pockets. That's online. I never meet them before. I never meet them in physical. This is how me and you talking. I was able to guide them to make a gathered skirt with pockets, with waistband, and with zipper.
Okay.
So, and again, there was older students, and they have some knowledge.
Right.
So I think the two of them, they didn't even have a sewing machine. One didn't have a sewing machine. And the other one actually recently bought a sewing machine.
Okay.
Wanted to learn to sew. So I guess, like I said, I try to make things simplify so they like my teaching style. So it was easy for them to follow through. Now,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say that there wasn't challenge. There was challenge. There was definitely challenge because for someone having no clue of sewing pockets, and then you teach them how to do it, I would have the sample and have to explain. This is exactly how I want it pinned. This is exactly how I want, you to line it up, and I will supplement with videos as well.
Right. So
Pre-recorded video so that I could explain, and I would say, okay, just let's pause. Let me share this video that I have. This is exactly how I want it. And I say, okay, no problem. And then they're gonna follow through. So it does. I mean, making a gather stuff, it was a little bit easier, But when it come to making a pleated skirt, there was another skirt we make again. It was a pleated skirt where I had to give them homework. They have to iron the skirt. So in this case, I leave them with videos how to iron the skirt, how many inches distance to iron it and stuff like that. So, I supplement my live as well as with video to make it for my students as well to follow through. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Why do you do video? You think video, as well as them seeing you in terms of practical, why have you done video for them?
That's a great question. So videos in the sense that I have like a video course itself where everything is already there. Everything is already from the beginning to the end. It's already there in the videos, all pre-recorded itself. So I could use the video and I could sell it. I sell the video, and then now I come online to give you direction in areas that you may because two of my students they had met me on the first free skirt I had, the free skirt class I had. So they met me on there. So there wasn't really 100% there as yet.
Okay.
I do offer the Zoom class as well to kind of guide them in any areas they need, especially with the pockets. You kind of need help with the pockets a lot. So
okay.
As well to guide them through and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay, so when they actually, if they're not sure, at least they could look back at the video and say, okay, this is okay. Yeah, I see that. Okay, so what 3 tips would you give in terms of online teaching?
That's a great question. That's an excellent question, Debbie. So one thing I would say, and I'll just say that quick before I give my 3 tips. There was a time I was doing a class on Zoom, and then I didn't have a password. I didn't have a password to get in, and there was a hack. So all of a sudden, I see 10, 20, 30 people just trooping into the Zoom live, and I wasn't prepared for that, right? So one of the things I want to make sure is that number one, you're doing a secure teaching. So anyone can just tune in anyhow. That's like one thing for Zoom itself. Now, to give a practical tips here, I would say prepare, because at the end of the day, you don't want to come online and I don't have my sample skirt, I don't have my sample pockets, I don't have my sample waistband. I mean, you'll be wasting time, right? So, okay, hold on, let me do. No. Come prepared, right? So that's one of the things. And also what I do, I would have step number 1, step number 2, step number 3, step number 4. And if someone is behind in step number 3, then I could pick up step number 3 and show them what to do. If someone is advanced in step number 5 and they want to go to step number 6, I pick it up and I show them what to do. So preparation is very important, especially in my field. Now, another thing again is patience. You have to have patience with people. I mean, it's totally impossible to sit in your studio and teach people online that you have no clue who they are really. Then, you interacting with them online to teach them. And they ask you, okay, Judith, you know what? Even though you did number 1 already, oh, you know what? Can you repeat number 1 again? And you're in number 5. And I said, no, you have to go back to number 1, and you have to have patience. Patience is like the critical thing, especially in my field where I'm teaching itself. And of course, punctuality. You don't want people to be waiting for you on the waiting 5, your class is 5, and 5 after 5, you're not there. They'll look, this person is not serious. I'm not interested. Free or paid, goodbye. So on time punctuality is one of my 3rd tip I would give. So
okay, thank you very much. It's interesting though, because whether or not it is an academic class or is a practical class, a lot of the things are very similar, because one of the things you say, patience, and patience run not only for a practical class, it's also useful for educators on an academic class. Preparation is key. That is also in terms of a practical class, also academic class, and punctuality. So it doesn't even matter what class we are doing, whether or not it is a practical class, hands-on class, like sewing is a practical class, to psychology or sociology or history, which are academic class. They all have the same important factors. And in terms of also engagement, how we engage with our students, we need to make sure that they're actually having an end product. And a lot of time, if students cannot see a result or end product, engagement is a challenge, because they don't know. For them, it's like, Miss, what am I doing this for? Because they cannot see the purpose of doing it. So as educators, we need to make sure that students see the purpose and the end product. That would actually always help engagement. And as educators, we need to remember the engagement is not about the students. It's about us as educators. How are we engaging our students? Too often I'm hearing educators say, oh, well, my students are not engaging. What are you doing that are not enabling them to engage? Are they aware of the end product? Because I know if I don't see an end product, why am I getting engaged?
That's right, exactly.
Exactly. I need to see the end product. And another thing is, especially if it's an academic subject, you need to be dynamic. If you're not dynamic, you're going to put me to sleep. Because, as I said to my student in my class, whether or not I teach in carnival art, or I teach in psychology, or I'm doing sociology, or I'm doing English, whatever subject I'm teaching, you cannot sleep in my lesson. You have to be engaged, because when you hear my voice in your head and you see me all over and you see me walking around this class, you have no time to be sleeping. Because my lesson have to be engaging for you. So when you actually leave my lesson, there's something you need to remember. And that's where, as educators, we are all going wrong. We are blaming the student for lack of engagement. It's like, If they're not engaging, the question you need to ask yourself, one, are they aware of the end product? End product, you're making a skirt with them. Or the other question is it something that is, what I'm doing with them, is it too easy for them that they become bored, so therefore they're not engaging? Or is it too difficult for them? Or the fact is, my voice is monotone. Because I've been in training session, I've been in areas where the presenter, the voice is so monotone. It might be a good session, but I'm falling asleep. Because it's like, and you're thinking, really? What's all that about? As educators, you need to make your lesson dynamic because you need to get the students with you. So those are the things as educators we need to remember. It is not the fault of the student to be engaged. It is the duty of the educators to engage your students. So we can't be blaming students for non-engagement. Hell no.
Not at all.
Exactly. It is your duty as educators to realize that why my students are not engaging, because 9 out of 10 times we need to reflect and look at ourselves.
Absolutely. I totally agree.
Yeah, it's, because it's like a few weeks ago, I had an educator say to me, Debbie, my students are not engaging. Really? What are you not doing? You can't be blaming the children for not engaging. What are you not doing? Too often we are blaming students for all these things, but we need to start looking at ourselves because they're there to be taught.
That's just a human thing. We always want somebody else to blame. Yeah. So you're so right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're always looking at, the sad thing about it, I've been in a situation where, educators are constantly blaming the students. And I said to an educator last time, but I'm not interested in why, I don't understand why you're blaming the students and why you're vexed with the student and why you're cussing the students. Because if the students were not there, you wouldn't be here.
It's right, it's true.
They go hand in hand. And you see, all those have to do with lack of self-care. When you are too tired.
Well, there's always different factors, right? So
yeah. And when you're too tired. Right. Remember, people, I am not moaning. I am not complaining. I'm just putting it out there as an educator who teach a range of things and have been teaching for over 25 years. I am not saying that I know it all. Definitely not. I'm always learning. I'm one of these educators who is always learning. But I'm saying I do have a few ideas, because 25 years plus have given me some ideas. And also in teaching in the range of industry have also given me some ideas and in range of subjects. So when we actually come to you, we're not moaning about it. We're just talking from our experiences.
Oh, absolutely.
Have you got anything else you want to say to us before I actually close off?
Well, what I want to tell my viewers is that, as I don't know if I had mentioned my my business name, the name is there on the screen. It's Infinite Modesty Design. We do have an online platform where we connect with Facebook page, and we also offer different classes. So basically, beginners classes, private classes, online classes, offline in studio classes, of course, if you're in Toronto. But if you're not in Toronto and you want to learn to sew, you could definitely either visit our website, is infinitemodestydesign.com, or you could connect with us through our Facebook page. And I've learned a lot from teaching over the years, is that I've learned a lot in the sense of different culture. It doesn't matter what, I may get people may come and say, okay, can you sew in Indian dress, or can you sew African dress, or can you sew this, or can you sew that? The goal is that sewing is sewing. Once you could drive a car, like I tell my students, once you could drive your car, you could control the wheel. Trust me, you could sew.
Yeah.
Because it's all about controlling the machine. Yeah, you will need little tips, you will need strategy, you will need connection, you will need tips, you will need direction. But the goal is that sewing is fun. It's not hard at all. Whether you online, whether you offline, it's easy for me to say it's easy, but at the end of the day, it's something that is doable.
Yeah.
So definitely could connect with us if you
Yeah.
yeah.
I like the analogy, the analogy of the car, because in terms of sewing, you could sew anything. You could sew any garment from any culture. In the same way, once you are able to drive, you could drive any car. That's a fantastic analogy. Thank you very much for accepting the offer to come online. And thank you, my Facebook people. Thank you very, very much. I do appreciate you guys, tuning in every day to see the different educators I'm bringing on, the different, type of subjects they'll teach, the different groups they'll teach, etc. And it's really fantastic, connecting with educators from around the world, teaching a range of subjects, some teaching practical subjects, some teaching academic subjects. And regardless of the type of subjects we teach in, we all have a lot in common in terms of the engagement of our students, whether or not it is sewing, whether or not it is art, whether or not it is, as I said, psychology, sociology, English, history, whatever we teach in, we all have the same challenges of engaging our student on the online platform. And we've all had the challenges of learning to negotiate the online platform. I must say, as educators, remember, you have learned so much more now than when you actually came on the online platform. And you have now armed yourself with a new set of skills which you have gained through the online platform. Stop beating up yourself. You have done well. Remember, you came from nothing to a range of skills. So all you now need to do is keep on practice. The more practice you do, the better you get at it. The better you became.
Whatever you become, exactly.
Right? So what you need to realize is you've done well. As educators, we have done very, very well. Ignore the chatter and the noise. It doesn't matter what they say to us. We have done well. Well done, educators. Praise yourself. Stop beating up yourself. You've done well to having not known anything, to now know how to work on the online platform, also to teach our students knowledge of the online platform. Hell, we've done well. I am not going to take on anybody's baggages when they say educators are lazy, educators don't want to go back to work, educators XYZ. And educators don't know what they're doing. Yes, we all didn't know what we were doing, but you know what? We now know what we're doing. We now know what to do, and we can now all use the online platform. So you guys out there, stop blaming educators for everything that's gone wrong. In all of your lives, you all had an educator. So come on, own that and give us credit for what we've done. Come on, we've done well. So I am not mourning, I'm just praising my colleagues because everybody have been bashing them and someone needs to be in the corner. And believe me, I'm in my people corner because we've done well. Thank you, everybody. Have a fantastic evening, night, morning, wherever you are. Share, like, and comment. And thank you, and I'll be back tomorrow. I'm not too sure where is the educator coming from tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow. And remember, I have a new Sunday platform where we're talking about everything education and looking at the mental health, etc., of educators and students, right? Thank you very much, everybody. Have a blissful evening. Take care and be safe. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.